Ladies and gentlemen, forget no contact. Emotional detachment is stronger than silence. No contact says, "I'm trying to get over you." Emotional detachment says, "I already have." One is a strategy based on distance. The other is a state of being based on power. And the moment you shift into that space where your energy no longer chases, reacts, or explains, you immediately flip the dynamic. You see, when you go silent, there's a part of him that still believes he's in control. He assumes you're hurting, waiting, hoping. He thinks she'll reach out eventually. That thought is his comfort. But emotional detachment, that's different. That's when he starts to wonder why your energy feels completely removed, why your vibe no longer says, "I miss you," but instead says, "I don't need you." That's when he starts to feel uneasy. Detachment doesn't mean coldness. It means clarity. You've accepted what happened. You're no longer trying to rewrite the story. You're not holding imaginary conversations in your head. You're not explaining your worth, defending your actions, or replaying the final argument. You've stopped making it your mission to be understood. That silence he once interpreted as a waiting game suddenly becomes a mirror, one that reflects how little power he now holds. Men don't fear being ignored, they fear being irrelevant, and that's what emotional detachment does. It makes them feel unimportant in the very story they thought they starred in. When you stop looking back, when your energy no longer orbits around him, something inside him shifts. He starts checking your posts, wondering why your light is brighter, why you seem lighter, why you're not angry, sad, or resentful, but instead free. Free in a way that can't be faked. Here's the truth: silence alone can be misread. Emotional detachment, on the other hand, is unmistakable. It changes the way you speak if you ever do talk. Your tone is calm, uninterested, polite, but distant. There's no spark, no charge, no pull. That disconnection stings more than any blocked number ever could. And don't confuse detachment with pretending. Pretending is draining. Detachment is effortless. You're not trying to show him anything anymore. You're just living. You're not silent because you're strategizing. You're silent because you're healing. You're not withholding to get attention. You're simply not offering it because it no longer feels natural to give. That's when the power shifts. That's when he starts feeling what you once felt: uncertainty, curiosity, and the ache of emotional absence. He broke your heart, yes, but now you've broken the connection. Not with words, not with blocks, not with games, but with something far deeper: your peace. Your non-reactiveness, your freedom. When you're truly detached, you don't need him to reach out. You don't need closure. You don't need anything from him. That's the moment he realizes what he lost. Not because you punished him, but because you evolved past him. And nothing breaks a man faster than realizing the woman who once wanted him no longer sees him as the prize. Reclaiming your power isn't about revenge, silence, or playing hard to get. It's about indifference, the kind that comes from knowing who you are, what you deserve, and choosing to stop bleeding energy into someone who couldn't appreciate your presence. Indifference is misunderstood. Some think it's cold, but real indifference is peace. It's not about being numb, it's about being unaffected. And that energy, that's what shakes him more than any emotional outburst ever could. When you become indifferent, it means you've stopped letting him rent space in your mind. You're no longer analyzing every text, rereading old conversations, or wondering what he's thinking. You've left the theater of the relationship and taken your emotions with you. That emptiness he feels now, that's what happens when your energy no longer dances around him. He doesn't feel your love, your anxiety, your frustration. He just feels nothing from you, and that nothing is deafening. You see, when someone is used to being the center of your emotional world, indifference hits differently. It's not about ignoring him, it's about not even needing to. You don't react, you don't explain, you don't ask questions you already know the answer to. You just move differently. That shift in your presence makes him question his own significance in your life. He starts to feel exactly what you once felt: uncertainty, doubt, and a hollow silence where your warmth used to be. Indifference doesn't scream, it doesn't beg, it doesn't even whisper, it just walks away, with grace. And that calm departure, that stillness of no longer chasing, is what unsettles him the most. Because while anger still says I care, indifference says I've let go. And that truth hits hard. When you reclaim power through indifference, you stop trying to teach him a lesson. You're no longer driven by the need for him to understand how badly he hurt you. You're no longer trying to make him regret it. Why? Because you've shifted your focus from him to you. You're healing your growth, your peace, that quiet glow that comes when your energy is no longer tied to needing a reaction. And here's what he notices: your absence of need. You're not trying to fill a void with his validation anymore. You're not checking his stories, asking mutual friends, or decoding mixed signals. You're living fully. And when he sees that you're not stuck in the emotional loop he thought you'd be trapped in, it challenges his ego. It makes him wonder if he ever mattered as much as he thought. True indifference is liberation. You're no longer waiting for the apology. You're not hoping for the return. You're not interested in replays or rewinds. You're building, blossoming, expanding. And the man who once believed you'd always be emotionally available now finds himself in the quiet void of your detachment. He won't know how to name it, but he'll feel it deeply, not because you tried to hurt him, but because you stopped centering him. And that shift in power, that unwavering indifference, is what makes him finally understand what he lost. There's a certain kind of power in leveling up so boldly that your glow speaks louder than your silence ever could. Forget hiding your growth. Forget playing small so he doesn't feel the weight of what he lost. Upgrade your life visibly and unapologetically, not to prove a point, but because you finally understand your worth. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, not in secret but in full view, you disrupt the narrative he created about you. A man expects you to retreat after heartbreak. He expects sadness, waiting, maybe even silence. What he doesn't expect is your transformation. That's what breaks him faster than any game or revenge plan. When you shift your energy inward, when you invest in your healing, your appearance, your goals, your happiness, something begins to shift. And if he's watching, it hurts, because he thought you'd crumble. He thought your world revolved around him. But instead, he sees you rise. Your glow becomes undeniable. It's in the way you walk into a room. It's in your smile, no longer laced with sadness, but with self-trust. It's in your eyes, not searching for closure, but filled with new direction. Your aura changes, and when you're glowing from within, not for attention, but from purpose, it's powerful. He'll see it and feel it, even if you never say a word. You don't need to post everything. You don't need to craft some dramatic comeback story. But your energy needs to speak for you. The upgraded version of you doesn't ask for validation. She doesn't explain why she's glowing. She just is, and it's not because of a rebound, or a new guy, or external success. It's because you stopped waiting for someone to choose you and started choosing yourself, daily. Every time you choose to elevate, you tell the world, and him, that you are not who you were when he left. The woman he thought he could walk away from no longer exists. She evolved, and you're not hiding her anymore. When you become visible in your strength, you teach without preaching. You show without speaking. and that quiet evolution challenges his assumptions. Let your life reflect your healing. Book the trip, start the business, hit the gym, rebuild your circle. Wear the outfit that makes you feel unstoppable. Upgrade your mind, your routine, your vision, because this is not about showing off, it's about showing up for yourself. And when you do that consistently, you become magnetic, not just to him, but to everything aligned with the future you're building. It's not revenge, it's not a performance. It's you stepping into the woman you were always meant to be, before the heartbreak, before the pain, before the doubts. He may have broken a version of you, but he can't touch the one you've become. And that truth, witnessed in real time, will always sting the most. Not because you tried to hurt him, but because you stopped needing him and started shining for you. Don't hide, thrive in front of him, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. Hiding after heartbreak might feel safe, but it keeps you small. It tells the world, and him, that you've been defeated. Thriving, on the other hand, is a declaration that you won't let someone else's inability to love you define your story. It's choosing visibility over silence, not to prove anything, but to fully live the life you were always meant to. There's a kind of healing that happens in the shadows, but there's a different kind of power that's found in the light. When you allow yourself to be seen happy, radiant, unbothered, you take your power back in a way that silence never could. You're not pretending you're okay, you are okay, and that shift becomes undeniable when you stop shrinking just because someone walked away. He expects you to disappear, he expects your energy to dim. He expects to see the damage he caused reflected in your posture, your voice, your absence. So when he sees you out in the world smiling, focused, glowing, thriving, it hits differently. You're not broken. You're blooming, and that image stays with him long after the moment passes. Thriving isn't loud. It's not about showing off or crafting some perfect image. It's about authenticity. You're showing the real you, stronger, wiser, and more grounded. And when he sees that the version of you that's flourishing is the version he no longer has access to, something inside him breaks. Because that's the woman he thought would wait, would suffer, would stay stuck. But you didn't. You moved forward with grace. You healed loudly but not messily. You didn't need to post every win or shout every success. You just lived consistently and powerfully. And that consistent growth, that refusal to dim your light, becomes undeniable. Your life begins to reflect your inner shift. Your goals get clearer. Your smile gets freer. Your presence feels lighter. Not because you're trying to get a reaction, but because you're no longer trying to get him back. This isn't about rubbing your happiness in his face. It's about never again tying your joy to his presence. It's about refusing to dim your potential out of fear that he'll think you're over it too fast. Let him think. Let him wonder. Let him watch you thrive and realize that he was just a chapter, not the whole story. There's something deeply magnetic about a woman who didn't just survive heartbreak, but evolved through it. When he sees you becoming more than you were before, more confident, more grounded, more alive, it challenges every assumption he had. And in that moment he realizes the best version of you didn't come during the relationship, it came after. So don't pull away, don't disappear, let your presence speak. Let your evolution be witnessed, not because you need him to see it, but because you deserve to live it fully. The highest form of closure isn't silence, it's success. And the most powerful message you can ever send is to live a life that makes you proud, even when he's still watching.